Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall, and this is your project tutorial for the first project in Unit 4. We'll be talking about the shot list. That is the theme of Unit 4. It's called the shot list. We're going to be taking different types of camera shots of various angles, sizes, gear, framing, a lot of different kinds that are really fun, and I'll start getting into it right now. So even though we wrapped up our unit on photography in the previous unit, we are still going to take lots and lots of pictures. Don't worry, we're going to still take pictures and even transition a little bit into video. So we're going to still practice taking pictures. We're going to learn specifically about types of shots. So you've been playing with types of photography. Now we're going to talk about how to put those into your specific shots and all the factors that go into that. So these next few assignments are going to be structured very similarly. So once I go through this once, you'll start to see the pattern of it. So for the very first thing, and again, there's always instructions right here as well, is you have a YouTube video from Studio Binder. We're going back to Studio Binder because they have a great series of videos on these subjects. So I want you to watch this YouTube video, The Ultimate Guide to Camera Shot Sizes, Shot List Episode 1. While you're watching it, I want you to take notes on this Google Doc right here. You will be turning in the notes. The notes are part of your grade for this assignment, so make sure you're taking notes as you're watching it. You can open the YouTube video and you can have the notes side by side so you can type and write at the same time. But I want you to take at least 15 notes from the video and 15 specific notes that have at least a couple of facts about each shot size. So it's going to talk about different types of shot sizes. Don't just write the first 15 facts that you hear in the video. I want you to get at least 2 to 3 notes on each type of shot size because we're going to be practicing each one, and I want you to make sure you have notes on each one on how they're structured, how they're set up, so you can understand it and have an easier time capturing the shots. Okay, so that's the first thing. Watch the video and take notes. While you're taking notes, if you don't complete your 15, then you can also look at this presentation, which I went over in class, but I'll go over it again really quickly in case you missed it, just as a quick little recap. So this one we're talking about camera shot sizes, and this is what we're going to talk about, standards, blah, blah, blah. So let's talk about some of the first sizes. The first type covered in the video is the establishing shot, and what the establishing shot is concerned about is establishing the location and the time of day. These are usually wide shots. They just show off buildings or landmarks. This is crucial to showing the audience where we are. It's typically the first shot you see in any movie or TV show because it has to let the audience know what kind of world we're living in. And this is especially crucial for movies where the rules are a little bit different, like science fiction or mystical, magical things. We need to see what is going on. It doesn't always have to have people in it. It could be just a location. There could be people if the establishing shot has busy people, like if it's downtown LA or downtown New York, you would always see people there. So if you do a shot of that and there's people, that's fine. It may or may not have people, so that it doesn't really matter either way. It's more about establishing the location. And as I mentioned, it's crucial for world building. When you see the establishing shot of something, you automatically make assumptions of what's going on. So if you see this one from The Simpsons, you assume, all right, we're in a cartoon, there's going to be some cartoon properties. It's a home, so it's probably like a neighborhood or a house or a family. Easy to get on board right away. If you see something that's a castle, you can start making assumptions in your brain like, oh, there's probably some magic elements involved or dragons or something mystical is in place here because we're talking about castles. So you can start getting into that mind space of disbelief a little bit. The next one is the master shot. The master shot is usually followed up after the establishing shot because it talks about which characters. It shows you which characters are in a particular scene, so you don't have a character that just shows up out of nowhere. It starts by showing everyone so you know, all right, all the Avengers, these Avengers are in this scene. That way if one of them shows up out of the blue, it's not confusing. You know that Captain America and Iron Man have been there the entire time. It'll often follow the establishing shot. Again, just to clarify, this is all about clarification for the audience. As you start showing a video or a movie or a TV show, you don't want your audience to be confused right away. Otherwise, they're going to disengage and not watch it. You want them to be comfortable with what's going on right out of the gate. And again, it shows all the characters and where they are in relationship to each other. So you know who's sitting where, who's standing next to who. We also call this the safety shot, and we'll talk about this when we get into video editing. But it's nice to just have this one wide master shot of all characters, which makes it easier in the editing room when you have this shot. In case you missed a close-up or something, we have the master shot. So that's one of the reasons we call it the safety shot as well. Next up is the wide shot, and the wide shot positions the subject far away from the camera. So you zooming out wide. We practiced some of these already with our landscape photos, but we have a wide shot showing the character in this one. This one specifically needs to have the character. It's not the same as an establishing shot. A lot of people get these ones mixed up. The establishing shot is about location and just showing off the location. The wide shot focuses on our subject. Most of these shots are dependent on where the subject or the character or the point of interest is in the shot. So we need to show our character in the space. So it's showing the scale of things, it's showing where they are, uses distance, it establishes mood, like do they feel small, do they feel lonely, do they feel isolated. That's the common theme when it comes to wide shots. Again, just showing spatial awareness of our character and what's going on. Next up is the full shot. So as you can tell with the theme so far is that we're gradually getting closer to a subject. So we started with a wide shot, and now we're doing a full shot. The full shot is a little bit closer. It shows the subject's entire body from head to toe. So it's not the same as a wide shot. We still want to show about the whole body, but we're getting a little bit closer, and the subject can be standing up or sitting down. The subject doesn't always have to be standing up tall in a standing position. You can have them sitting down in a chair. Again, as long as their entire body is being shown in the shot and it's not blocked, then that would qualify as a full shot. It allows us to show facial expressions, get closer body language, wardrobe. This is, again, necessary for the characters. We can start seeing specific things on the characters. The wide shot, we're more concerned about the environment, but now we're getting closer to the characters and what are they doing, what do they look like, what are they wearing, all that sort of stuff. Again, details that are specific as we start to get closer and see what this character is made of and how they're standing or how they have their body posture. Again, medium full shot, getting a little bit closer. Again, the key thing I want you to take away, and make sure you have this in your notes when you're practicing, is the first thing I'm talking about, which is how the subject is framed. This one is framed from the top of the head to the thighs. So this one's below the waist. We're going from the top of the head, as you can see in the two examples, all the way to the thighs. It was commonly also AKA'd, also known as the cowboy shot is what we call this one. So if you say medium full shot, a lot of people will refer to it as the cowboy shot because it was made popular in Westerns, as you can see from the example right here. Cowboys, because we wanted to show off the gun holsters. So that's why the camera angle is this low. We wanted to see the weapon. And we just kind of adapted it into the modern world as the hero shot also. Sometimes we'll call it the hero. It portrays a subject as confident and dangerous. We're getting close, but we can't see their full body anymore, but we could see if they have a weapon or something on hand, because typically you would carry a weapon like a gun or a sword around your waist. So again, it makes the person, whether hero or villain, it's designed to make them look confident, dangerous, and or intimidating. So we call this one the cowboy shot. Next up, we're getting a little bit closer again. The medium shot, this one is head to waist, or about head to stomach, so the middle of the body. So again, looking at the top half of your body, we're cutting off right around the stomach or the waist area right here. And then the other framing is the top of the head. We don't want to leave a lot of headroom. We want the top of the head. Of one is one of the most commonly used shots in any kind of video, movie, or TV show. You will see this shot more than anything else. You'll see all the shots most of the time, but this one is the most common one because it's the most natural to how we look at other people. It's the most balanced when we're looking and having a conversation at someone. This is typically how we see one, so it's very neutral and pleasing to the eye, which is why you'll see it more often than not. And again, we're getting a little bit closer again. Next one is the medium close-up. And this one is framed from head to chest. That's where you want to get this one. So you can see the top is always going to be the top of the head. So in the last few examples, you've always seen the top area is the top of the head. We're zooming in on where the bottom of the frame is. This one, the bottom of the frame is the chest area. So you can see right here, mid-chest, we're not at the stomach. We're a little higher up. Again, minimizes distractions, allowing us to get closer and focus on the subject without the background getting distracting. And it also leaves room in case the subject is holding something. So if they have something important in their hands, in the video it talks about Thanos and his Infinity Gauntlet doing the snap. The medium close-up allows room to focus on the person and what's in their hand and not be distracted by the background. Next up, one of the most commonly used ones for emotion is the close-up, and this just shows the subject's face. So if you get around the neck, that's okay, or just the face at the bottom of the chin, but the primary focus is that the subject's face takes up pretty much the entire frame. That's what we're focusing on. Again, this is allowing us to get closer and see the character's emotion and convey empathy on what they're going through. So we can see their facial expressions. What are they feeling? Have they gone psychotic like Jack here in The Shining? Are they thinking, contemplating, worried, sad? What kind of emotion they got going on? We can tell by getting really close to their face. That's the close-up. Again, the close-up is the character's face takes up the entire frame. And then lastly, the last type of shot is the extreme close-up. So this is where you're getting as close as you possibly can. So again, you see throughout this entire thing, we got really wide and we got gradually closer. We started all the way with a wide shot really far away, and now we zoomed all the way into the extreme close-up, where we're trying to get as close as we possibly can to a body part or an object. So this one, again, doesn't have to be a person. It could be a super close-up of something small, like a small detail, a small piece of jewelry or something. It's also called an insert shot, aka it is an insert shot. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next lesson, but these are often very similar. So this one you want to zoom in on like a body part. Most people do the eyes. Eyes is one of the most common ones, or you can do other kind of body part like the nose or the ears or some kind of small object. The one thing to keep in mind when you're taking these pictures is don't put the camera lens right up against the object. If you put the camera lens like a millimeter away from this ring, it's not going to be able to focus. It takes special lenses to get right up to an object in focus, so just back up a little bit on the camera. You can't get right up to it when you're trying to take it. You may have experienced something like that on your phone. If you try to take a picture with your phone and you get really close to something and the phone's not focusing for some reason, it's because it can't do that. You need a special type of lens for that. Same thing with the regular cameras that we're using. You can't be point blank right up against the object and take a photo. You just have to zoom back or move the camera back away from it a little bit until you can get that nice clear focus. All right, so what you're doing, very similar to what we've been doing in the previous units. You'll get a camera and an SD card and practice taking the photos that you've seen in the video and the ones I just covered right here. You'll need to get in groups or pairs so you can share the camera and the equipment, because there's not enough for everybody. And also you'll use each other as subjects to take pictures of. As always, you will take the pictures in RAW, edit them in Lightroom, and then attach them to the slideshow I'm about to show you. One thing to keep in mind when you're taking your pictures is add variety to your shots. Don't just take a picture of a classmate in medium shot and just go snap, snap, and then you got 2 photos done. Mix it up. Take a photo in one place, then move them to a new location. Have them stand up, sit down, move all around. So every shot is a little bit different. You don't want 2 full shots that look exactly the same or 2 medium shots that look exactly the same. They should be slightly different. Change up the facial expressions, the posing, standing, sitting, location, all of that stuff, as you can see here. The variety makes it way more interesting and gives you a lot more to practice with and develop your photography skills, okay? So if you have 2 shots, if you have 2 medium shots that look exactly the same or 2 full shots that look exactly the same, you won't get full credit. Make sure you're adding as much variety as you can in all your shots, okay? So once you start taking your shots, the second part, so the first part is to watch the video and complete the notes, as I mentioned. The second part is completing your photos and putting them on the classwork slideshow, which is this one right here, the one that says classwork. So similar to what we've been doing, I've prepared this slideshow for you to practice taking the specific photo and attaching it to these images right here. And you'll see there's 2 of each, 2 establishing shot, 2 wide shots. Everyone has 2 of them based on this cheat sheet that I've given you. I've also attached this cheat sheet to the assignment where you'll be practicing the shots covered in the video. When we watch these videos, we will not be practicing every single one that it's covered. You could see when you watch the video, it talked about 9 types of shot sizes, but there's only 8 here. The one we're not practicing is the master shot. The master shot, that one's a little confusing and not important to what we're practicing right now, so we're going to skip that one and we're just going to do the other 8, all the way from establishing, wide, full, cowboy, medium close-up, and extreme close-up. You're going to practice these by taking 2 photos of each one of these and putting it on this slideshow. As you can see right here, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 of each kind. As always, tell me your exposure settings when you edit them in Lightroom. The first thing you'll notice of each one though, however, is online example, or I want you to Google search and find me an online example of that type of shot. So you see here's an establishing shot online example, then the 2 you're going to take, then the wide shot online example, then the 2 you're going to take, and so on and so on. So this one is, before you get started, find an online image that's an example of it to put here. So again, you have a better idea of what we're looking for. So you can look up establishing shot and download an example. So again, you could find an establishing shot. Find a different one than the one I showed you. So this one I used in the presentation. So don't use this one. Use something that I have not used in the presentation. Find your own establishing shot. These are all really good establishing shots. Again, it's talking about location. This is establishing the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco or wherever we're looking. Make sure when you find one online, you download a correct version, because sometimes what pops up in your Google search feed is not always the same. Like if I click on this one is obviously not an establishing shot. So I'm not going to use this one. Even though I searched it and that's what came up, I can use logic to determine this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking more for something like one of these. These are establishing shots about location. So make sure you download and use the correct one for your slideshow. So if you downloaded one of these ones, like let's say this one right here, if you downloaded this as an establishing shot, you'll put it right here where it says online example, and then you'll take 2 establishing shots of your own, then move on to the same thing for the wide shot. Go on, find me an example of a wide shot, then go take 2 photos of your own to put right here. Okay? So that is the assignment. And again, I provided this cheat sheet to help you. It puts the shots in order of what you're looking for, and it even has a little description on how you're capturing it and a preview of what to look for. So you have lots of reference points for your photos. And again, you're working together and asking me as well if you have any questions about it. So it's very simple. This will again be the structure for most of the projects in this unit. And I'll talk about more in the next one and show you what we're going to do. We will slowly build upon it as well. And I'll get more into that into the next project and tutorial. Okay? As always, have fun and let me know if you have any questions.